Welcome to Unapologetic and Free.
I'm Shar.
I'm Lakia.
We're sisters by blood
and friends by choice. Welcome, 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 y'all. We are so excited for this episode as, well, not really promised because we didn't know for sure, but we said that we were going to come back and do this marriage episode on support because we just got wrapped up in the last episode. And so we knew that marriage needed to be its own episode in and of itself. And so we're grateful to be able to come back and do this. One of the things we always do, y'all, before we get into our episode is we do something called What Are You Watching? Now, we want to do a little spin on this because we have couples. And so we're going to ask you guys to tell us one show that you guys watch together. So we are going to ask the Smiths. So you will go ahead and go and tell us one show you guys are watching together.
Sisters. Sisters. We binge watch Sisters like that's our show. We make sure like it's out. It's the new one is out. We gotta watch it.
Well, I'm not gonna say it's our show. I personally watch it for the foolishness. Just yell at the TV the whole time, like this is so stupid. Like that's what I do the whole time.
Down TV.
I think it just gives me a chance to release my frustrations at the TV versus real people. I get to yell at them.
But I agree because that's why when I watch reality TV, like the Kardashians and stuff like that, it's solely for somebody else's drama. It's like I'm just into somebody else's drama, so I get it. I get it. Yeah. All right, Pastor Heckard.
We have binge watched so many things, but the latest one I think was Black Cake. Black Cake is a hot smoking mess. It literally has so many. Yes, y'all have to go watch Black Cake. It was so many twists and turns, and I had never watched Black Cake. I had never known about Black Cake. Ever. I'd never heard of the term. And then I went to a restaurant out here, a Jamaican restaurant, and the owner calls me Mom. And he said, Mom, I made a black cake for you. I was like, what? Not after I didn't watch this show. So and when you watch the show, you're going to be like, did you eat the black cake? Because it is really a mess. But we binge watch a lot of shows together.
What is that on?
It is on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah. Black Cake on Netflix. All right. Trending.
And Lakia, do you and your husband watch anything together?
I can't think of nothing that we watch together. I guess what I can say we watch together because it just came back on is we watch the SVU, so Law and Order SVU, and then the Chicago PD. Those are two shows that we watch together that just recently came back on. So.
Okay. So my husband and I, we watch Animal Planet together.
Hey,
Animal Planet?
Animal Planet.
Yes. And Animal Planet they got some stuff on there.
I mean, in the narrators, and we always seem to watch an episode of Animal Planet where Snoop is narrating. So it's just
I didn't know he narrated Animal Planet.
Yes. He narrates Animal Planet.
Oh, now I gotta go watch it.
Yeah, I gotta find that. Snoop animating the lion. Like I got Snoop. Oh yeah.
And it's funny because he be like, that homie ran fast.
Yeah, I can't do that. I need somebody to talk to me like they are from Australia, telling me about the animals. I don't want Snoop's version.
Okay. Well, at this time, what we would like to do is, Pastor Bobby and Pastor Nikki, we would like for you guys just to introduce yourselves, right? And through that introduction, make sure you talk about how long you've been married.
Wow. You want to go first?
All right. Well, I am Pastor Smith of New Beginnings Ministries, and we have been married 18 years and have been together 19 years. Is that right?
20. Been together 20 years.
I'm sorry, been together 20 years, been married 18 years. Is that right?
Yeah, we got together in November 2003.
2003, yeah.
Yep.
2003.
Yeah. So, yes, I am First Lady Nikki of New Beginnings Ministries. As he said, we have been together for 20 years, married for 18. We ran a church. We had 5 years into our marriage. No, 4 years into our marriage, we started a church. So, majority of that time has been running a church and raising a family. And 5 kids. Yes, it's been interesting.
Yeah. How did y'all meet?
How did we meet?
Uh-oh.
All right. So he was at this live show and he was a rapper.
Yeah, I was a rapper back then.
He was a rapper back then. and he could sing, y'all. So what had happened was he was rapping, and I was like, he's so, oh yeah, he probably mean, y'all. So, he turned when he got off the stage, he said, I like your pants. I had on some of my pants. He was like, I like your pants. I was like, thank you. And that was it. Later that night, we saw each other.
Instantly became a groupie.
Yeah, we had a dance contest.
We had a dance contest.
Like,
I didn't become a groupie till later, Sean. We had a dance contest. That was it. And we have been together ever since.
Wow.
We've been together ever since. That's exactly how we met.
And it's bad because we met in a club.
Yeah.
They say don't meet people in the club. But I believe that in a strange way, I believe it was divine appointment. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get too deep, but for me to be the man that I was, just got out of the Army. So her pants caught my attention, of course, just getting out of the Army. And I was like, I like your pants. I didn't think nothing of it. And then we started having the dance contest. I was like,
oh no, y'all know me with the dance, and it wasn't, you wasn't gonna beat me for it. Wasn't gonna outdo me. And no, you weren't gonna outdo me.
Yeah, so that's how we met, and then we went to talk. And then from that conversation, it was weird because we weren't saved, so we did it the hood way. She was on Section 8. I moved in. The same, the stuff. But then
help the people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby mama, baby daddy. Yeah, we call that.
Real people. So she was living in Section 8. I moved in. Paid the bills, all the bills.
Whole electric bill, y'all.
All $11. I paid it though.
I was just about to say all $15.
And then I remember walking out.
Oh my goodness.
Walking out, big living.
Came a long way, but that's how we started. Yeah.
But the funny thing in that is when you say you paid all the bills, a whole $11, there are people today, right, where when we talk about paying all the bills, it still speaks volumes, because whether it was $11 or $100, the mindset was, yes, she's on Section 8, right, but I'm going to come in here and pay all $11 worth of bills. It still is a mindset.
Yeah, I'm going to take that off of her.
Yeah.
I've always been a grown man. I was never that guy. Like, I took care of my son. I had a son previously. I took care of my son. I wasn't that guy. I was hanging out with them guys. But when it came to taking care of my business, I always took care of my family and my business for sure. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Pastor Eckert.
And I think he's trying to log on to, so I am DeAndrea Heckard, better known as Dee Dee. That's my government name, DeAndrea. But I met David almost 25 years ago, and we got married 11 months later. So we've been married it'll be 24 years, March 11th. And we have 4 boys and 1 girl. We have, really, really learned to enjoy marriage. I was just meeting with a young lady earlier today, and I was telling her he is my best, like, not just my best friend, but I laugh with him. We clown each other. He's my laughing buddy. Like, I don't understand marriages where you can't clown and where we too sensitive. I can't say stuff. Like, I would not rather laugh with anybody else. Like, I love spending time with him, and him being my friend first and my friend still has helped us really enjoy 24 years. It's not that we haven't had hard times, but we've enjoyed it, and we've been able to laugh through all of the stuff at some point. Maybe not right while it was going on, but we've been able to laugh through all of it, or at all of it, I should say. And so I'm really, really grateful. I can't wait for him to come in. I will save the how we met story because he always be clowning, and David never tells the truth about the story. And so I want him to in on it, because he's going to have some things to say that ain't necessarily, I'll tell you my version, and then we'll see what he says when he comes on. And so I was in a friend's wedding 25 years ago, and he was in his friend's wedding 25 years ago. There's this guy that I was walking with in the wedding. I didn't want to walk with him. I was like, your homeboy is taller. Can I walk with him? Because I just didn't want the dude in my ear trying to holler at me. And so I walked with him with no intention. I didn't like him. I was newly saved, still trying to discipline my boys on the back seat of the church. And we had a friend that played matchmaker. She lied to me and said he wanted my number, and lied to him and said I wanted his number. And we ended up exchanging phone numbers and never stopped talking that night. The funny thing is I was like, I won't say the guy's name. I don't want one of his little young friends. All his friends is 19. I'm a grown woman. I got 2 kids. I don't want no 19-year-old man. I need a dude, like a grown dude. And it's so funny if y'all know him, for Shar and Lakia. He is the youngest man alive. He is such 100-year-old man, even though he is 3 years younger than me, which we'll see when he comes on. We'll know that that's debatable. He is going to say something that is not the truth. I am 3 years and 3 months older than him. And watch what he say when he get on. I'm telling y'all, watch what he say when he get on, because we clown all the time. But I met him at that wedding, and we got married 11 months later.
Yeah. Wow. So something that you said, if you can elaborate on, is you said he's still my best friend.
Yeah. Because sometimes people, go ahead.
No, I just want to know, can you elaborate more on the emphasis on still my best friend?
People start off friends. I realize, if he make you laugh, if he, one of my friends say if the dude bought her a 2-piece and a biscuit, she was like, oh, he buying me food. We good. You like what you like, and you can enjoy somebody's company. But over the years, through pain, through problems, through offense, through whatever, I noticed in the couples that we counsel, they stopped being friends somewhere along the way. They stopped enjoying each other's company. And I think that a lot of the times they did not know how to navigate the offense. They did not know how to navigate the problems and the pain, or, somebody was frustrated and they ended up saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. And you held on to that instead of truly forgiving it and letting it go. I've seen that a lot of couples don't let stuff go. That's how we can get to divorce court in 30 years or divorce court in 15 years and say, you always did that, you never did this, because, babe, I thought, didn't you say you were sorry for that? How'd that get added in the paperwork? And as Christian couples, I've seen people are not forgiving. They're not okay. And so if you're holding on to that, the friendship wanes. If I remember when I first really had a conversation with Shar. Do you remember our first conversation? She was like, girl, I thought you was mean and stuck up. You do this, you do that. But if you never get to know a person, and if you hold on to that version of them, and that's what you want to hold on to, you're not gonna be best friends. You're not gonna enjoy each other's company. And that's what happens with couples. They can start off good, especially if the sex is good. If this is we talking about marriage. I don't know why we don't want to talk about sex when we talk about marriage and it get whatever. Maybe I'm supposed to say another word so it don't get
just unapologetic and free.
But the sex good. You leave me with my toes curled and my wig slapped back. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. He everything. Mm-hmm. And then you realize he stank in the morning, his breath stank. And you realize, he got some things about him from his daddy and mama. And all of a sudden, he's not, I'm sorry, my thing was going off. But all of a sudden, he's not the bomb of the business no more. When you realize he's actually a human being, the one to make your wig split is a human being as well.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And so, once we had to navigate through, you are Prince Charming in these ways, but you are a whole human being with trauma and issues and childhood trauma. I'm a human being with childhood trauma. I might keep you on your toes, but I get on your nerves too. And how do we navigate through that and remain friends and smile when you see my humanity? And so we are still friends because we've learned how to forgive, apologize, and navigate through that and not take ourselves or each other too serious.
Thank you. That is good. That is good.
That was.
Pastor Bobby, First Lady Nikki, do you have an opinion about friendship in marriage? I know that's not one of the questions, but again, we just gonna throw some things in there to keep the conversation spicy.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's important. You've actually become my best friend. Like over time, like it's the sun is changing. That's what's doing it. Like over time, he has like, even though I have female friends, but as far as my confidant, my best friend, it's him. And like you said, it's very important because the last August 22 till now, it's that year, almost 18 months, we have been locked at the hip. And so we have been literally in the house together all day and can't go anywhere. And I'm glad that we decided to enhance our friendship versus being mad at the situations and way life was. So I think it's very, very important to be friends with your spouse, best friends.
I agree, because I know with my spouse, I find myself when things happen, he the first person I want to call, and then I'm gossiping, and sometimes I hit him with the girl. I'm like,
I do it too.
And he'd be like, it's okay. And then sometimes I'm on the phone and he'd be like, what's that? What happened? What's going on? And I'm like, I'm going to tell you.
Right. And
well,
so
I think, I'm sorry. I think that, and this is going to sound crazy, right? These are my thoughts. I think when you say marriage and friendship, I think marriage is friendship on steroids. You know what I'm saying? I think when we say still be friends, I think the power of the word married, right? She's my wife, right? Not my friend. And I'll tell you why, because in the order of operation, she comes before my friends. See what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, she's my friend, but it go deeper than that. And this just me talking. I never, because my friends come and go. I might have one or two friends, but I don't have to talk to them every day. You know what I'm saying? But when you're my wife, oh yeah, you got to be on my hip. And I think our marriage has included a high level of, I guess, friendship. But the word marriage to me supersedes friendship. And so for her to be my wife, I mean, I don't even think, and this is me, all right? Everybody asking me that, like, y'all should be friends. I'm like, it goes past it. Friendships have an end when marriage comes in. You know what I'm saying? All your friends take, even your best friend is now second fiddle, even my mother. You see what I'm saying? So when I say she's my wife, to me, that's greater than, a friend. So I've always looked at her as like something that can't be disposable. I'm tied with her through good, bad, ugly. There is no break up with your friend and get back together. I can't go nowhere. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's for me, it's always been deeper than that, but I do understand the connotation of, stay friends, because that's so important. Like she was saying in marriage, because you become enemies without even knowing.
And the enemy thing ain't fun.
You know what I'm saying? When you're not working. Yeah, because now you say something, then I don't. That's right. Like, and then you want to see each other wrong. Right? You start glorying in each other's wrong. So now I'm picking out what you did and not, what I'm saying, what I did. And I think you become enemies. Right. Where the Bible says the two should become one.
Yes.
Instead, you become enemies because you refuse to become one. So if you refuse to become one in a marriage, then you're anti-Christ. Right? So the marriage can't prosper because it goes against the very principles of God. So two friends don't become one. You see what I'm saying? Yes. So that's why for me, I get the friendship in the marriage. I mean, for the word's sake, but I think it goes so much deeper than that. And when people don't want to lose their individuality, they'll never stay married, because you have to give 50%. I
agree.
People always think become one. That's only 100%. So how do two people come one? They got to bring 50%. They both bring 50, they become whole, right? Then where does that other 50% go? You can't bring it with you.
That's really good.
What you want to do and where you want to go and what you think. And, all the things that don't compromise, you got to let them go.
Right. And I think for me, as the youngest married, as in less time that I've been married, and the way that what stands out to me about us still being friends is because the dynamics of how we got together, where we were in a controlled setting and we did what's called chaperoning. So we didn't have sex before marriage. We went on chaperone dates. And so in our church, we talked on the phone, we went to banquets, and so we had to talk. So it's like if we didn't get a chance to know each other and really become friends first, all we had was conversation. All we had was that time to talk and really find out, do we get along? What do you like? What do I like? Right? And so then after marriage, one of the things that I say is that we are still friends because we got to truly be friends, because I come from sex was love. So I thought, well, if we having sex, then you love me and that's all we need, right? But it's more. I didn't know. And so being able to be somebody, get to know somebody first, and then decide that I still want to be your friend after, because I'm still talking about still being friends, because now we're married. Now I get to see that your breath stink when you wake up in the morning, because I didn't know that before. And I still want to be your friend, right? In spite of all of that, even when we don't get along, right? Even when you're not doing what I want you to do, we're still friends. We can still come together. We can still talk. And for me, this is my third time being married. And so as a third time being married, the differences are that friendship and that communication of being able to deal with those things and not holding it. Like Dee Dee said, holding on to that. You said you forgave, but then you still hold. And I used to be one of those people who held on to stuff, resented it. And it was like, oh yeah, still holding it because I didn't have peace. I wasn't operating in true forgiveness. And so even in that, 5 years later, we're still friends because we still choose to get along. We still love in spite of, right? Like, I'm not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere. We got to figure this thing out. And so that's what still being friends for me 5 years later.
Absolutely. And then for me and mine is, we not having no couch ministries. So I may do something you don't like, and then you find yourself wanting to go sleep on the couch. Man, you better come up in this bed and let me put these knees in your back so we can go to sleep. Okay, because
let me get my cold spot.
Right. You can still be mad, but go on and let you need to be the big spoon, okay? And your madness.
I want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
What I don't want to do, because a lot of times when we talk about marriage and we talk about arguing, we use it in a bad connotation, right? That we not getting along, blah, blah, blah. But you have to remember there's a maturing period in marriage, right? And so you get married young, you have to mature, right? Because you don't know what it is to be responsible for yourself, let alone another human being, let alone. And so there's to be single and then to come together, it takes a lot of letting go. And so there's a level, and then you got to bump heads, how the culture, how you grew up. There's a lot of things that I think it takes years for marriages to process out. You know what I'm saying? So I call it more of a process. Now, of course it can get, poisonous, but there's not a married couple who doesn't go through that process. Some worse than others, but you're going to go through that maturity process where somebody got to grow up, right? And we just take turns growing up, and in that growing up, of course, we're going to bump heads.
Amen. Yes. Welcome, Mr. Hecker.
Hey.
Mr. Hecker.
Hey, how you doing?
Thank you.
I'm good. Sorry for my tardiness.
It's okay. It's okay. We've been waiting patiently for you to now come on and share your story about how you all met and what is your version of how y'all met.
Oh, you told the version? You told the version without me. You told the version.
Yeah, because I want them to hear your story.
Oh, so it was a cold, dark night.
I knew it.
No, it was several years ago. Some friends of ours, we had mutual friends.
Several years ago.
It's
almost a quarter of a century.
Well, you say several when it's over, so that's protecting your stuff, right? So
my age.
I didn't say that. That's like he said, it's a process. I didn't learn these processes. I didn't learn, but it was several years ago. We were both in a wedding. So I knew the groom and she knew the bride, and I had worked, and I was young. You told me how old we were?
I said a little something.
We were young. We were very young. So I met this gentleman on my first summer job. So when I was 16 years old. So I've been knowing him for a couple of years. And he was getting married young as well. And I was just one of his groomsmen. So I come walking into this church here. And it was, I came in and it was rehearsal. So we were practicing and I was supposed to be walking with someone else. And I just she called me out. She's like, no, I want to walk with him. That's what I walked into. I want to walk with him.
That's not how it happened.
Right.
Okay.
You told your story. You told your side. I'm just telling you how I remember it. So it was some other guy who I haven't seen since that day. That's who she was supposed to be walking with. He gone. I don't know where he at. But anyways, he,
Petty.
I'm not being petty. I'm just telling the story, babe. I'm telling the story. So she had chose me to walk with me. So we went and practiced, and I saw some things about her that I was attracted to, that I liked, that I still like, and we were walking together in the wedding. So we walked together in the wedding, and it is actually this picture that. I don't know who took it, but it's a picture of her aunt and her mom smirking, because one of the things that we had to do when we walked, we got the bridesmaid to the end of the aisle, we kissed their hand and they ushered on. So I'm kissing her hand, and on this picture, her mama and her auntie are just smirking. They just can't contain themselves on this picture. So we laugh about it today. And then the next thing you know, she asked for my phone number. She wanted to know my phone number, and I haven't stopped talking to her since.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that spin.
You did. That's what I was told. I was told you wanted my phone number. So I applied.
So who gave y'all the number? Like, did somebody give you her, or did she give you the number?
It was a friend of, it was the bride's sister, played matchmaker. God rest her soul, and she was used by the Lord. I loved how Pastor Bobby said, it was divine, even though it was in a way that we wouldn't have picked. It wasn't this perfect little situation, right? And a lot of the times we think that God is not being God if it's in a club, or if somebody lied to you about a phone number or whatever. I told a young lady this morning, I said, Samson, the church would not have said Samson gets to be in the Hall of Faith.
No.
We would not have said that Samson fulfilled his purpose, because he did every single thing that his mom and them told him not to do. And one of the things that we ignore about Samson is he knew his strength. He asked God to help him pull the house down on himself, which is suicide. And God decided that he would be in the Hall of Faith, because God said that Samson fulfilled his purpose in life. And we wouldn't have seen it like that. We as the church world judge it very differently. And God had a whole nother, he has a whole nother viewpoint from his vantage point of what that looked like. He said when Samson met that Philistine woman, the Bible says that the parents didn't know that God was up to something with him liking the Philistine women. We would have seen it as something different. Like God wasn't being God. He was being God the whole time, though it wouldn't have been our choices and our perfect little package of, I was praying and the Lord showed me you as my wife, and I waited and none of that happened with our situation. But God did what he wanted to do, as he's done in all of our situations, and I wouldn't change any of it.
Because you wanted me. Yeah.
Amen. Well, that is an amen moment. And so we are going to dive into these questions. I've been looking forward to getting to them and hearing your all's perspective. And so, Pastor Bobby, we're going to start with you. And the first question is, what do you enjoy most about being married and least about being married?
Oh, I don't like these.
There's a lot of, of course you can do a lot of different things, right? But I'll stick to the umbrella. What I love most about it is the journey. Marriage is built on the journey, right? And the longer you hang in there, the greater it gets, right? So I think for me, the journey, like seeing where we started in Section 8, we got our own house. You know what I'm saying? I started with a little hoopty. She had a little hoopty. Now we got multiple cars. You know what I'm saying? And so you see the growth. We kids went to college, big time athletes. Like, the story where we come from and what we did, it doesn't look like what it should have looked like. You know what I mean? Of course, we found God in that, so that definitely helped. So I think the journey is the most important for me. And I think the least is the work. Because you got to work every day to stay married.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
your spouse is right here. You know what I mean? So every day you wake up, you have to choose not having an attitude. You have to choose to apologize. You have to choose to love. And it's a grind. You know, when you've been married close to 20 years and them been married almost 25, I'm sure they'll tell you too. It's a grind. And don't get me wrong, there's great days, fun days, but then there's days you wake up and you're just like, I don't even know why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And you have to remind yourself, like, yes, I do. There's a purpose to this. So every day is not going to be sunny, but the work, it's hard work. And I think coming in, we didn't realize how hard it was. We granted that because I liked her, she liked me. That's all we need.
That's all we need.
No.
All
we need is love.
Right.
Anything to add, First Lady?
I would say the same. The work, the part that I least enjoy is the work. I've always said, God forbid, if him and I split, I couldn't do it again. The level of work it takes to have a successful marriage to pour into another person, I don't have it to do it again. I commend you for those who love. I just don't, because it is hard work. The part I enjoy the most is having that person that God gave you to care for you, to take care of you. You know, I've been sick twice. I've had breast cancer twice. You know, I've had a series of unfortunate events in my life, and God gave me a solid person. And so watching his love develop and us intermingle, that's been the joyous part. Watching my love develop, that's been the most enjoyable part of being married.
And I want to say the hard part was not us. We had a mixed family. So we didn't just bring us into it. And I always tell her, if it was just us, it would have been it wouldn't have been as stressful. But when you bring two, I bring one.
Then we have to.
The dynamics, it was just a lot. Yeah, it was a lot.
All right, Pastor David Hecker, would you like to go?
Yes. So one more time for the question.
Yes.
What do you enjoy most about being married and least enjoy?
So this is a complex one, right? Because it makes you think about several different things. But I think the thing that I enjoy most about it is what the person marriage has turned me into. Now at this point in my life, I can truly say that I have a better understanding of how to be a husband and how to be a father and how to manage. One of the reasons why I wasn't even here today, and it's like a proud dad moment. Our daughter bought her first car, right? And she didn't need a down payment from me. She didn't request any money. She listened to every word I told her to do. And like, I just literally sat back. So I wasn't able to do that early on in marriage because of that very thing. You talk about having a mixed family and just the different pressures and things like that. So the thing I like about it the most is it's the person that has turned me into, that God has really been able to develop me. And the thing I like least about it is really kind of the same thing. Is it really teaches you the person that you was and that you're trying not to be as well. Because you still deal with flesh, you still deal with emotions, you still deal with like, I do not want to do this with all the life in me right now. Like with all my whole life, I don't want to do this thing, but I have to, because number one, I made a commitment to my Lord, and I also made a commitment to my spouse. And that commitment to my spouse isn't just to her, right? It may be to her family, it may be to my children, it may be to extended family, but that commitment ties me, to her. Like, so it may be something, again, that I dread doing, that I don't want to do. And I find myself developing through those things, through the hard things. And I kind of have this saying that I always say to her is, it's okay that we are different and we have different perspectives, because that allows me not to be fully me in this situation. Because if it's fully me, then we ain't doing it. And I'm missing that for us. And no, it's an absolutely no. And I'm not looking back, but she has the ability to be like, honey, here's another perspective, right? Without telling me I'm dumb or wrong or all the other things that come into play. So I think that'll be my answer. the person that I have become and the person that is preventing me from being as well.
Yay, I love it.
I love it.
Dee Dee, you're up.
What I love most about marriage is who I'm married to. Like, I love that I said no to all the other people. So grateful that God allowed me to meet David, to drop all of my preconceived notions about he stayed with his mama, he 19 years old, you got 2 kids, he can't take care, like the stuff that was being said. The Lord has more than like superseded any of my expectations. So I'm so grateful that I get to be married to him. I don't know that I would love marriage if I was married to the other ones that I'd said no to. The thing that I least like about it, or hate really about marriage, because there's a part that I hate, is how quickly it goes. You know, David was by his old boss's side yesterday when he passed away. And, you know, I started reflecting on, like, when your spouse leaves, you don't get warnings sometimes. You don't get, it feels like life goes by so quickly through your fingertips. And all the parents say, you know, we understand that. You know, my son will be 30 next month, which is, me and my friend were having a whole conniption on the phone. And I was like, wow, most of that time I've been married. You know, some people don't make it, not because of divorce or something, because of death. You know, after 10 years, 15 years, and it just feels like I want to go back to, I don't want to miss the time. Sometimes we're so busy, we miss each other's moments, or we, you know, when you're not intentional. And there are times where I was so busy caring about the wrong things, that I want to go back and just look at his face again during this moment, during this thing, because life goes so quickly and you don't get that time back. And I don't like how life just slips by you, you know?
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you. So we are here to talk about support. And one of the things about support is gratitude. And so the next question is, how do you show your gratitude to your spouse when they support you?
Who's that for?
Whoever go first. Like, whoever's like, I want to go. I want to go.
I'll go. Gratitude for me, and I think we said this on the marriage thing the other night, support is not always agreement. And gratitude, sometimes people feel like if you support me, you agree with me.
You helping
No,
me.
I support you, and as your God-given spouse, God gives us the wisdom to sometimes see down the road where agreement and just being your yes person would kill us. And so, you know, I find myself being grateful for him, and in gratitude, it gives me permission to say, babe, I know that this is what you want to do for now, but because I appreciate him and his role, I want you to see this thing down there. And so sometimes it's not always agreement. I'm grateful. And if your spouse doesn't understand their role from God, the other spouse's role from God, they can confuse. You're not grateful because you don't agree with everything. And that's just not the truth. Gratitude does not equal I'm going to be your yes person. Gratitude is I'm grateful for our relationship, so I can see some stuff down the road, or you can see some stuff down the road. And because we want to keep this down the road, that we can't do this.
Okay. That was really good.
Me? Oh. For my gratitude, I try to, I'm a giver. I try to keep thank you on my lips. Do I say thank you enough or a lot? Yeah, I try to in the little things, thank you. Because it's, I don't ever want to take for granted the fact that, he's stronger than me, so he holds the door, or, he cuts the shower water on for me if I'm running late. Things like that. I try to, at minimal, keep a thank you on my lips to tell him I'm appreciative and just let him know, like, I don't ever want him to, feel like I'm taking him for granted, because we've been in that space before and it's just not cool. So, gift giving, showing gratitude. Like, he loves gifts. I'm all for it. So if I got some money, you got it. Also too, just being there, being the wife for his position, kind of like DeAndrea was saying, like knowing who he is, knowing the role God has given him. So I try my best to be a wife that's supportive of his role. Because it's not, it's not the First Lady show. He's Pastor Smith. So I try my best to support his pastorship or being a pastor by being a woman who is appreciative of the man he is that God created him to be. Does that make sense?